I don't think we should allow deaf people to have excuses. No, we must make them aim higher. No excuse that you are deaf and accept to fail. No, work hard and know that you can be the best that you can. I am the Associate Professor in the Department of Psychology here at University of Nairobi. When the university saw that there was a number of deaf students in their list, they were willing to become open and to welcome deaf students. Two things that are missing are the responsibility of the parents and the responsibility of the school. The responsibility of the parents is that they don't see the importance of education for their children. But the responsibility of the teachers, they don't emphasize the importance of academic excellence. They teach very basic. In my view, teachers should be hard on students. Make them work very hard and not to excuse them because they are deaf. The biggest challenge deaf students in university are facing is the lack of interpretation services. In Kenya, we also have a problem of competent and qualified sign language interpreters for the deaf. So that is a problem that Rose Kwamboka and Washington Opio went through without interpretation service. Sometimes they brought their own personal interpreter, which meant they paid for their interpretation services. I have known Rose Kwamboka for about 8 years now. I met her when I was the head of Department of Psychology at Moi University in 2005. That time, I was driving home from university when I met her aunt, who told me, I have a niece who is deaf but cannot join university. I asked her, how come? She told me universities in Kenya are not open to having deaf students. About Washington Opio, I met him about 4 years ago when I went to his office at LVCT at Hurlingham, and was very impressed that he was a very bright young man. He was doing a lot of work in an office with hearing people. I encouraged him to go to university, which he did, and he finished his BA degree, and now he has joined University of Nairobi doing an MA program. During my time, it was very hard because those days there were no interpretation services at all. We used the oral method in Kenya. So I tried my best to cope with no interpreter, and I had no idea what interpretation service was. If I didn't go to America, I don't think I could have reached where I am now. The key thing was when I went to America, I met deaf professors. I was very impressed that deaf people can become professors. I saw many deaf people join university. That helped me very much. It helped me keep my goals high, and I told myself that one day I will become a professor, and so I am one now. I was with Rose a few days ago. I told her you should work hard to attain your PhD and join University of Nairobi and become a professor. I've had a talk with Opio to also aim to become a professor. He also opened up that he would like to join the University of Nairobi in future to do his PhD. That way, they can carry on my legacy. I cannot leave my legacy to die. I need those people to carry it with me. I have 2 students with me here.
My name is Jacqueline Murugi. I'm studying sociology in the University of Nairobi.
My name is Brenda Wanjiru Gutu. So, I am a student at the University of Nairobi. I am in 3rd year of study. I am a counseling psychology student. Well, I remember in 1st year when I joined campus, I came to that class. It was introduction to psychology. So I realized there are 2 people in front of the class, and one is an interpreter, the other is deaf. So I didn't know how that would work out, but as days went by, I realized I could learn a lot from Professor Ndurumo now. I just got so inspired watching him teach and use sign language and the interpreter. I didn't know how it would work out, but it did.
Okay, for me it's a different case. The first time I heard about a deaf professor, it was through my friend Brenda. She came to the room telling me there's a deaf professor who is willing to volunteer to teach us sign language. So I was curious. When I went to class, I was very amazed by a deaf professor coming to teach. I could not believe that someone who is deaf could come to this level.
He's been my psychology lecturer and now my sign language lecturer. He's taking us through signed English. We are now at the intermediate interpreting level. Yes, he is. He is my second father.
He has been a mentor to me, not only in sign language, but in other areas of my life. Professor Ndurumo is a role model to us because it shows, regardless of his situation, he's able to go as far as he can. I would like to say that the society should not excuse deaf people for their inability to hear. They should accept them as people and also encourage them to work hard. In schools, teachers should not giving them an excuse just because you are deaf. It's not a must to go to college or universities. They should encourage them to study hard and go to the highest level they can. If I would get a deaf child, I will encourage the child from the start, get into our world or his world, and also bring him to my own world. Accept him, love him or her, yes, and be with her or him all the way.
Sign language is like other languages like French, Chinese, Italian. So when a child is young, they can learn this language easily. Unlike when a child is already old, it's quite difficult for them to learn a new language, and it takes a lot of time. So that's the same with sign language. It's great if the parent maximizes on that period between when the child is born or starts to speak or express themselves through signs to the period of 5 years, so that a child already has developed complex ways of understanding language and people. I appreciate that I am hearing, but at the same time, as Dr. Ndurumo often says, that is Professor Ndurumo, he often says he appreciates his disability and he'd rather enjoy it when it lasts.
Now, I would like to talk with deaf students in schools. One time, I was like you. I used to worry about my future. Who would I become? What kind of person can I become? Would I become a tailor? Carpenter? Or am I able to go to high school or university? Those were my worries too. I saw that it was possible for me to work hard and achieve.